You're doing the cleaning, the organizing, the packing the lunches, everything around the house, and your husband isn't. You're feeling frustrated and pretty resentful. You've brought it up a million times, but nothing changes. Deep down, you know he really doesn't get it or appreciate the things that you're doing, and it sucks. And it can change, even if it feels impossible right now. And no, it is not about begging or making chore lists or taking on even more. There is a completely different way to approach this, one that actually works. I am Lindsay. This is Loving with Intention. Let's dive in. This is a super common concern that I hear in my private coaching love journeys from women, and something that a lot of women are talking to their friends about, maybe complaining to their friends about. You might even have friends whose husbands are all over the household duties, and you're wishing that your husband was the same. I know it is not just the physical acts of doing household things, it's the mental load too. The keeping track of what needs to be done and when, and on top of everything else in life, it's a lot. And to have your husband step up and know what needs to be done and do it without it feeling like you're pressuring him or nagging, it would just feel like a major weight off. And it is not about your asking your husband to help more, quote unquote. These are household duties. When we frame it as helping, it sounds like it's your job that he's pitching in on. But a shared home is shared responsibilities, so it is not about helping. It's about both of you taking care of the life that you're building together. But if he's not doing his part, then what? That is what we're talking about today. I want to walk you through a new way to approach this kind of conversation, one that actually works. It's a completely different energy and mindset shift, and it'll change the entire dynamic if you stick with it. I'm actually going to break this into 2 videos so that you have time to really take it in and apply it so that it's not a whole bunch of information coming at you at once. So in this first video, we're going to lay the foundation with 3 crucial steps to help you feel supported and seen and like you're on the same team in this. Then next week, so in just a few days, actually Monday, we're going to build on this. We'll go deeper into the tools, how to actually talk it through together, how to deal with different perspectives, how to create lasting change without it feeling like a battle. And the good news is you can get started with what we cover in the video today. The first step is a little mindset work. So let's look at the objective facts, like I do the vacuuming, I pack the lunches, I do the cleaning, I do the mopping, I do the planning, and my husband doesn't. So objective facts, but then what we do is attach a meaning to it because that's what brains do. So the meaning might be, he's lazy, or he doesn't care, or he doesn't appreciate me. We believe those meanings as facts, and then we become even more upset. So it is so helpful first to recognize that these are stories. The story I tell myself is that he doesn't care. The story I tell myself is that he doesn't appreciate me. This moves it from the very upsetting fact that 100% truth to a place where your brain can see, wait, maybe this isn't true. Maybe that's not the reason he doesn't do those things. And this is a great place to start. It is such a helpful mindset shift to move into a place of curiosity and more openness. Curiosity and openness are a much better energy to be in when you approach your partner. If you approach him with the belief that he is lazy, your entire energy will reflect that. Your tone will reflect that. And it doesn't matter what he says, it won't change your belief. So when we recognize that that belief is actually a story, then we can change our energy and change how we see things and change how we approach your husband, how we approach your husband. I'm not approaching him with you. I can if you want, but how you approach your husband. And speaking of approach, we want to paint the dream. So often when we're frustrated or hurt, we tell our partner what we don't like, which makes sense. It comes from this place of wanting to be seen. So you might say, I'm tired of doing so much, you don't do enough around here. Maybe you even criticize. Maybe you say things like, you never take out the garbage, or I'm always the one who does everything around the house. Or maybe you slam things around, like loudly unloading the dishwasher, or you're doing the vacuuming while he's watching TV, paying extra attention to the carpet that's right in front of the TV so that he gets the message. When we share in this way, our partner is likely to put up a wall. They might respond with their own criticism, they might get defensive, point out the things that they do instead of what they don't do, they might totally shut down, which is so frustrating for you because now you're not even addressing the root issue anymore. You're getting caught in a spiral of negativity. And it makes sense that they react this way. This is a very normal human reaction. When we feel attacked, our nervous system gets triggered, and then we react with relationship poisons like criticism, shutting down, those things I just said. And then you don't feel heard at all. And just because it makes sense that people react that way, it doesn't mean that it's helpful or that it's okay. It's just the human experience. So your approach can really set you up for success to be heard. Painting the dream might sound like, I love you and I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I would love if you would take on the lunches every night so that I can take care of XYZ. I know that if you have that covered, I can do my part and then we can actually have more time to relax or enjoy. I've actually read comments online when people give advice like this. Comments like, so I'm supposed to baby him? I'm doing all this stuff already and I have to watch my approach. I'm curious if you've ever felt that way when you hear relationship advice like this about your approach and softening things. Maybe like you have to tiptoe around them to share your needs. If you have felt this way, comment below and let me know. And I just want you to know that you are definitely not alone. And I totally get it. It can feel like adding another thing to your plate, having to be conscious about how you bring things up. And honestly, you just want to be heard when you do bring it up. And it is not about babying him. It's actually about setting your whole relationship up for success. If you reflect and you have been criticizing or complaining or being negative about the cleaning, meet this with so much love. You've been frustrated, you've been overwhelmed, and you get to get compassionately curious. Has that resulted in you feeling heard? Has it resulted in him stepping up more? If not, it might be time to try a new approach and see what happens. So painting the dream and using language like I would love if, it's inspiring. It is not blamey, it's not attacky, it's full of possibility, and it can also land a lot better if we lean into step number 3, which is appreciation. So a very, very human thing to do when we hear our partner wants something more from us or is upset by something we're not doing or that we are doing, it's to get defensive. It's to point out what we are doing. Even if you approach your partner in the healthiest way, painting the dream beautifully, you still might hear your partner say, can't you see how hard I work? I'm exhausted after my work day, which might result in you saying, you're exhausted? I work too on top of all of this stuff that I do. And next thing you know, you're in that familiar back and forth where you just feel worse and worse and totally misunderstood. If you start bringing in appreciation regularly, and when you bring up this topic, it can speak to those parts of your husband that want to be seen. And again, this isn't about babying your husband. This is a human reaction. I have seen this kind of reaction from men and women in private coaching. They hear their partner is upset and they go into defense or sharing their side of things. I've seen it in my own relationship from both me and my partner. So we want to bring in compassion for these kinds of reactions. Again, our nervous systems get triggered. Maybe it's an old wound that gets triggered from a long time ago. We launch into defense. In our relationships, we get to get curious about these tender parts of ourselves and our partner that do get triggered. We actually get to be part of healing those things together, which is so beautiful. And when we bring in compassion, again, we're not saying that it's okay. We're just getting curious about what's underneath. So bringing in appreciation can help soothe their nervous system. It sends the message, I would love if you did more of this, and I see all of the things you are doing and I appreciate them. And appreciation regularly, oh my gosh, it is massive. Building a culture of respect and appreciation in your relationship is the literal antidote to contempt, according to the Gottman Institute. Feeling appreciated often means we are in a much better place to hear our partner's concerns because we feel loved and seen. If your partner doesn't show you appreciation, since we can't force anyone to do anything, it can start with you. I have had so many individual clients share that they started pouring appreciation into their relationship and then they started hearing it back from their partner. You get to be the change. So it's either that or you could wait for your husband to start and you could be waiting forever. Loving with intention, ding, 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 means starting now, even when it feels hard. You can grab my free Superpowered Appreciation in the description box. It's what I recommend my clients dive into, whether or not their partner's on board. The amazing thing is when your husband feels appreciated on the regular, it actually inspires him to do more. It creates good vibes, good energy. I know I am much more likely to do things that my partner loves, like spending quality time together or to offer to cook dinner when he's usually the one doing the cooking because he's so much better than me. I'm way more likely to do those things when I feel appreciated by him. And then when I'm spending quality time with him or making dinners, he's more likely to appreciate me. It's like this upward spiral of goodness, and who knows where it started, but we just get to pour into it together. And you might be thinking, I'm not going to give my husband a freaking trophy if he unloads the dishwasher when I am doing so much. I've heard this before too, and I totally get that. It's like I am balancing all of this and you're doing the bare minimum. I have good news. No trophies are required. Just imagine though, if he unloads the dishwasher and you don't acknowledge it, but then you do tell him the things that you're frustrated about that he didn't do, he might have the narrative, consciously or unconsciously, if I unload the dishwasher, I just hear about what I didn't get right. Why even bother doing the dishwasher? So it's not about handing out trophies or throwing a parade. It is about appreciation. It can go a long way to say, I appreciate you doing the dishwasher tonight, even if it might feel like bare minimum. When we feel seen for what we do and not seen as the bad guy for what we don't do, we're likely to do more again. And this is not a manipulation technique. We don't want to appreciate our partner so that they do more. It's actually just a really positive practice to get into. Giving appreciation is really good for your own energy and your brain too. And if you have kids, it is so good for them to hear you appreciating your partner and bringing them in on the appreciation. So again, today we talked about how to start shifting the energy around thinking about this topic and the conversation, focusing on appreciation inside the conversation and just in everyday life, and leaning into painting the dream. I would love those words are so important because your approach matters. And of course, recognizing the stories that you tell yourself. Are you telling yourself that your husband is lazy or that he doesn't care or that it doesn't matter to him how you feel? Those are stories. Those are beliefs that we have. And when we name them as that, we get to shift things. In the next video on Monday, we will go deeper into how to actually have the conversations so that you can start feeling seen, appreciated, and supported. In the meantime, you can absolutely start with these things and start with appreciation. Again, you can grab my free Superpowered Appreciation in the description box. Doing this at least one time a day can really start to shift the vibe. Just once a day. It takes less than a minute. It is such a meaningful step toward feeling supported and not so freaking overwhelmed in your relationship. You have got this. So your intentional action is to grab that Superpowered Appreciation, dive on in, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video in a few days where we go deeper on this. I am sending so much love into your day. Remember that nothing changes if nothing changes. So let's have a super intentional week.